traveling along the old inner German border. This was once the dividing line between East and West. At the Priwall Peninsula on Lübeck Bay, Christina Müller sits in what was East Germany. Her husband Bodo is in the West. The line in the sand between them marks the former border. Bodo Müller remembers times when just looking at the Baltic Sea made them sad.
There was a great longing for freedom to see the world, a longing to travel on this sea or other seas. But I knew the reality. There was an invisible wall here, and I'd never go out to sea.
It was no accident that historian Christina and photographer Bodo moved here, where an escape route seemed possible. Today they collect things which many people would rather forget. They're archaeologists of the old East Germany.
This is the old border, this marker post. And this stood on the West German soil to warn its citizens not to get too close to the border.
I have this border sign. It stood in East Germany, although not here on the border, but some 5 kilometers inland. Regular East Germans never got close to the border. They never got to see it.
2 kilometers from the coast lies the village of Schaalsee. Here, people could feel the sea breeze, but couldn't swim in the Baltic. That made them resourceful. These steps once led to a swimming pool, the remnants of which are still visible. Today, it's the parking lot for an ice cream parlor, which still resembles the changing room it once was.
The state-run farmers' co-ops got subsidies, and on their own, in their free time, they built a swimming pool here for the people who lived in the border region.
The Müllers collect escape stories at their home on Priwall Peninsula. Their own attempts are documented in 13 binders, thanks to the meticulous records of the East German secret police. The Müllers first tried to flee in 1978, using a collapsible boat to cross the Black Sea to Turkey. There's even an amateur film of their escape attempt. But someone snitched on them. Here, Bodo, Christina, and a man called Thomas are with the boat. The Stasi ordered Thomas to befriend the Müllers and keep them from fleeing, so they abandoned their attempt. What followed were bitter years for the Müllers. They were harassed by the authorities and not allowed to work. They dreamed of fleeing, this time via the Baltic.
On a clear day, you could see the Fehmarnsund Bridge from Pole Island or from the village of Rerik. It looked relatively close, and it's quite a short distance, although it would be a real challenge to swim it.
After the Berlin Wall fell, the Müllers finally got to travel. They went around the world on a sailboat. Going further south, the barbed wire and landmines are gone, but the border patrol path remains. Bouncing along like this, you know you're traveling right on the inner German border. The path wasn't really built for cycling tours, but rather for border patrols. Lake Schaalsee is narrow and deep. It used to be closely guarded, as the border between East and West Germany went right through it. But West German fishermen like Friedrich Buck didn't let that bother them. The Bucks have fished on Lake Schaalsee since the days of the French Revolution. For them, East Germany was just another era.
When we crossed over it, we'd put up a 60 by 40 centimeter blue flag. We were only allowed to go across an hour after sunrise and an hour before sunset. But I didn't comply with that. I'd be out on the lake late at night and go through regardless.
But the East German border guards kept a close eye on the fishermen. Once the East German police arrested Friedrich Buck and locked him up for a few days at their headquarters, a palace which once belonged to the Bernstorff family. 68 border guards were housed here. There were a few prison cells and an armory on the first floor. Unlike many former owners of large estates, the Bernstorffs have reclaimed their palace. Until 1989, they lived quietly in Cologne. Now the counts have returned to their ancestral home.
We're really thankful to be back here and consider it a gift. It's thanks to our great-uncle Albrecht, who was in the resistance against Hitler and was the home's last owner before the war.
In the park, a cross honors the memory of the palace's last owner. Albrecht was considered an unusually courageous man. At first, there was strong resistance to allowing the Bernstorffs to return. Investors were interested in buying the palace, and local residents feared a return to feudalism.
That was partly due to political propaganda. People said, the noblemen, the enemies of the people are returning to take away everything you've worked so hard for. We had to dispel those fears and say, we don't want to do anything bad, we just want to live here. And, though it wasn't sure from the start, to maybe live here permanently, get involved and bring it back to life.
These days, the Bernstorffs serve up Friedrich Buch's catch in the palace restaurant. And so the story comes full circle, complete with a happy ending.